Good afternoon, everyone. Junk Mech here. I wanted to do a quick little review for Toy Notch Adventure Cloud Carnival Taro Oink. uh, this is a figure that was a TFCon ToyDojo exclusive in advance of the full production release in brown. So we get the lovable pink pig before you as little teaser for the line. Supposedly there's going to be a whole bunch that are going to come out, and so far we have Taro Oink, who is pretty lovable. She's just a sweet little pink pig with some robot kibble and of course a horrible secret hiding underneath, and so far as her little head just pokes right out. The articulation is honestly kind of what made me want to do the review. It's a lot more than I would have expected looking at the design. Each leg has movement in and out. The little fiddling, you can get them all the way in and out, rotation. And each foot has an ankle because of the way they designed it, where each leg splits to become the full-size leg. Head has pretty good movement, no side to side, rotation up and down, mouth can open. You have to be pretty careful though, otherwise you kind of reveal the robot underneath. The mane can move independently, which you kind of have to do to get most of the head poses. Tail can articulate. Overall, better than you would expect. When I was initially looking at the promo images, I just thought, this is a really cute little toy. And that was what sold me. However, I've been pretty routinely impressed in my handling of the figure in general, and I think people are not going to give this figure a second thought without anybody having done a review of it, expressing some opinions, showing some downsides. So that's why we're here. One thing to note is it comes packaged in robot mode. I just have it in pig mode, and it's kind of lovably adorable. Only downside is there's quite a bit of kibble, so you get the head right there. There's the arms. Underneath, you kind of just have a whole robot. The transformation is more convoluted than you'd expect, resulting in, I mean, honestly, kind of exactly what you'd expect sort of robot pig mode with a pretty lovable robot mode. This back piece is an entire parts forming panel, revealing a little tiny jet thruster underneath and a pair of fists. The butt turns into a gauntlet with a little hand mitten on the bottom. It's also her only weapon or any accessory that's not a hair or face, which I will show off in a little bit, but we get a wig. So the pig wears a wig. You get a sad face, you get harassed face, and yeah, that one. Then you get two peace sign hands, or maybe military commands. You get two pointers that are kind of whimsical. And then you get two kind of dynamic spread hands, like you're looking at a Macross figure. And then of course she comes with fists. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much all you're getting with the pig on her own without being a robot. And the transformation is fairly convoluted. I can see about doing it on camera. I'm honestly a little wary of it. The instructions included, which are extremely mastermind creations, are not great. They miss most of what you'd really want and don't really go into the detail you need. And of course, there's no other videos online, so if you want to transform this, you're kind of flying solo or kind of reasoning with what you've got. Thankfully, it's not terrible at all or anything. It's completely doable. But it does kind of unfold into a little bit of a colossal explosion, at least at first. And I think I can probably do this on camera. See what I can do here. Of course, I'm not going to be following any sort of special order with this because there's not really anything for me to go off of. So we'll just we'll wing it here. You rotate these guys at the top. Get them in position. Come on. There we go. I should mention the paint is very good. Everything on this figure is pretty much painted, and it is painted well. Better than I would have expected, to be honest. Again, I kind of had no expectations for this going in at all, which is kind of just a defensive mechanism at this point to guarantee I don't get too terribly disappointed. As, you know, kind of comes with untested figures like this. I've had Toy Notch products in the past. Namely, I had a couple Astrobots. And for the longest time, back when they were, before Mastermind Creations had any hand in their work, I lovingly idealized having a Astrobot back when they were 3D printed. But now they're accessible and much better than that. And yeah, they're good quality figures. I had Crevo for a while, and you know, he was exactly what you'd want from a cowboy robot pirate. And this is I'm going to say pretty much exactly what you want from a transforming pig girl robot. And of course I'll have to kind of ramble here as I sort through the transformation. Let's see. It's fairly specific as far as getting everything perfectly lined up, just to get it all working exactly according to plan. The engineering is fairly clever. The ankle tilts for the pig result in ankle tilt when combined for the robot legs, which is handled pretty well. I've never quite seen anything like it. I feel like there's a unique advantage when you're a company doing a beast former when you don't normally do transforming robot animals or kind of robots in general. As far as I know, Toy Notch hasn't directly done a transforming robot up until this point, if you don't count their little backpack robots. Anyway, they approach stuff in a really novel way because of the fact that they're not working under any preconceived notions. And this is a pretty great result of that as far as the way it's handled goes. I have quite a few different Masterpiece and such beast formers, and none of them do it quite like she does, which is a cool thing to see. It's always nice to see people innovating in the space. Here's the legs all put together. Knee pads are a little fiddly, but we'll get to that. And let's see if I can remember how you... Yeah, okay. So you rotate this, get that down there. These swing down so that you can get the arms up and around. Well, we'll see if I can do that. Clearances are pretty tight because of the fact that she basically folds up onto herself in her tiny little shell, which does not give you much room to work with. All right, close the backpack up, swing that up. These need to rotate down, I want to say. I've not actually done the transformation this direction before. Probably should have practiced it, but you know, what do you do? We fly by the seat of our pants out here at Junk Mech Productions, if you want to call it that. So let's see, there we go. Get that all squared up. Push this down. Then this just folds together. And these little flaps close up. Closes up into a pretty clean little robot with double drop hips of all things, which is pretty wild. Tolerances are generally pretty good. They don't get in the way of the transformation or anything. Of course, now you're left with this. So you have a couple options as far as your approach to how you want to do her hat. The instructions show you just kind of swinging the jaw out of the way. I've never quite understood how they do that, so I just untab the whole thing. It's held onto her head by two little posts right here. And they just sit on corresponding notches on the sides of her head, kind of giving her a bit of a Frieza sort of look. At least until you get it all sorted out properly, that is. And once you take the jaw off, in the instructions they show it just kind of swinging out of the helmet, but I've never figured out how to get the clearances right for that. You could certainly store it backwards, but the clearances are fairly tight. This will all swing down and around like that, which does give you a lot of room, but it still doesn't really answer the question of how do I do this? I think, yeah, it doesn't really do what you'd want it to when you've got it down. Oh, okay, I see what they want you to do. Okay, fairly complicated move. Let's see. From here, you swing this out for the beast mode with the ears rotated, then you swing them up to seal it up. You rotate them down like that to give yourself a nightmare gape, and you swing it up and around backwards and rotate it up. How you're supposed to do that with it on the head, I could not tell you. But it looks great. The instructions mention some alternate eyes that you don't get in this specific version. Then you get, where's the, oh, here's her little wig, which just cleaves in half right here. There's two little parts, and it just friction fits with some little tabs to hold on her head right there. She comes packaged exactly like this, with the fists attached out of the box, and her wig in place. Which doesn't really want to tab in. Come on. Kind of a unique struggle here. Let's see what I can do. There we go. Got it. Perfect. Initially, when you get her out of the box, there's nothing to indicate that the wig is a wig and needs to be removed. And you don't want to try to force the pig head over the wig, or you'll end up with probably some paint chipping if you're really forceful about it. I got lucky and only very minorly got a little bit of paint off the top of her scalp, just a hair. And that's it, which isn't too bad. But it's one of those things, if they had kind of explained everything better, I feel like everything would be a little easier. Anyway, here we are. Let's go ahead and stand her up. Here is Taro Oink in her triumphant, adorable robot mode with her little scarf, which does freely rotate. I like kind of off to an angle. She's pretty full of attitude and character just from this, without any fiction or anything. You get a pretty good feel for kind of who she is. Faces are friction fit, so you just pop them off. I've been doing it like this from underneath. I'd be pretty careful removing those because you really don't want to start chipping the head. And then they just have two tabs on the back. Plug right on. Let's see. With the wig on, everything's a little more complicated than it needs to be. Of course, it doubly so if you have the pig head on. So there we go. As far as the actual articulation is concerned, it's genuinely really good. She doesn't have any sort of torso twist or anything movement-wise because she's basically a tube. But the arms are pretty articulated. They go all the way out. They have a little bit of a drop shoulder just because of the nature of the transformation. Double jointed elbow. So she's pretty expressive in the upper body. The head is on a pull-out joint, kind of like MP Starscream 3.0. So you have a lot of range on that. You can really get fairly creative with what she can do. The legs are really involved. Got a double pair of drop hips that they're built onto, just because otherwise you're going to be fighting the skirt the whole time. So with a little bit of a pull, you can get those down. And she does actually have a twist, but actually utilizing it is kind of a battle. You'll be splitting the coat a lot if you spread the legs too far. And I realized I had the legs rotated the wrong way, but fairly easy fix. So her waist swivel is down here, down underneath. And she has hard 90 knees, and the knee pads are, again, a little annoying because they just don't stay where you want them. But she can pretty painlessly do just about anything you'd really want. With those drop hips, you can get them out to about there, which is okay. It's not exemplary. If you wanted to do something like have her sit or something, you could spin the pelvis around and have the drop hips utilized backwards. if you get creative with the articulation, there's a lot here, but otherwise it's fairly simple, but still more than I anticipated. The hands are just pegged on, pretty obviously, and they're fully painted, so I expect the pegs are going to start to strip paint eventually, and then they'll be easier to add and remove. They're like softer rubber than everything else. Again, pretty expressive. She feels like she has a lot of character just on her own, just from her appearances, and even without any fiction or even a little blurb or a bio or anything. Literally nothing about her. And yet you still feel like you get a pretty good sense of who she is and kind of what they set her up to be. Go ahead and take her wig off. It has some detents at the bottom to help get your nail in, but just for safety's sake, I'm just gonna use a spudger. I'm kind of doing that with this whole thing just because it's one of those things, right? Rather safe than sorry. And I do expect the backs of her head is going to get pretty paint chipped up for everyone. You never really see it, but it is something to note. The tolerances are pretty tight across the board, and it's fairly easy to start chipping paint on friction zones. The body is not painted, except for the grays. The light blue is painted here, and the feet are fully painted. The backpack is fully painted, and the head is painted except for the white. As far as putting the hat on, let's go ahead and get that on there. I really think this is the ideal look with the hat, but you know, they give you options, and it's nothing but a good thing that you have them. Let's see. You have to flex plastic just a hair to kind of get everything to line up. But once you do, it all fits on there pretty well. There we go. Get her little piggy hat, which again, to me, is kind of the look. And this can swing up and down independent of the head. If you have the jaw inside like that, it gets a little tight, but it's nothing too terrible. And then the gauntlet has a little peg inside, the pig butt, I suppose, whatever you want it to be called. And it just has a receptor port right here on the forearm. So you can flip that peg down. Just plug that. Well, a little easier said than done. Just pretty tight in there. Let's see. Oh, right. You're supposed to take the fist off. Pop the fist off, then you can get the pig punch gauntlet, or whatever you'd like to call it, in place. There we go. Behold, fully loaded battle pig. And of course, she doesn't lose any articulation with that. It can pan in and out. You could probably squeeze the fist in if you really wanted to. And then the hand itself has some little fingers, which are double jointed, actually. So you can really fold that over if you want like a proper punch sort of look. And then the thumb is just a little slider. And you get that. Just a pretty good look. I wish she had kind of a more dedicated weapon of some sort, but, you know, I mean, what are you going to do? I feel like as the line grows, you'll end up with a lot of accessories that you can play around with. Which will give you plenty of options. But overall, I think she's just pretty dang good. The complication of the transformation will probably ease up with experience, and if somebody a little better at transformations on video takes care of it, I'm sure it'd be made fairly painless. As it stands, you know, this is just a little look to give you an idea of what she can do, and to kind of help you decide whether it's something you want to own or not. Let's see if I can get her in a... Yeah, she can kind of do a kneeling battle pose kind of thing. Not too bad. Overall, I think she's pretty great. For the money, I think she's a great way to get a taste for the line, even though $65 is fairly expensive for the size. And actually, speaking of the size, let's go ahead and pop her down. Here she is next to everyone's favorite Ollie. And let's grab a Masterpiece Beast Wars figure. I feel like that's a fairly good idea. Here we go. And she is next to Optimus Primal. who's quite big. She's not a tall figure. Let's see if I can't get... you'll never be able to see his head if I don't pan the camera, which I'm not going to bother doing. But here she is standing upright. Let's go ahead and move all of her little accessories. Here she is next to Primal. Here. We will pan the camera. And, oh. See, batteries. Yeah, there we go. As far as like anime figures go, because I feel like this is kind of an intersectionary figure. If you like Beast Wars, you might like it. If you like anime stuff, you might like it. Or maybe it's just not for anybody, and I'm an outlier who likes it. But let's see. Here is Soul of Chigoka and Mazinger Z. So she's fairly reasonable if you're used to buying higher end mecha collectibles, because they tend to skew fairly small for the price. Let's grab, nudge the camera. Grab New Age David. She's about the same size as your average Legends figure. So if you're comfortable buying Legends figures and kind of have divorced the size, quality, price ratio in your mind, she's perfectly in that range. Here's a Magic Square Megatron. Pretty much the same sort of general size. I think if you are used to that sort of scale for your figures, you can't possibly be disappointed. The plastics are really high quality, skewing more New Age than Magic Square. They're not too flexible. Another MNC figure. Not really. So that's kind of where the comparisons will end. Unless I have, seems like Modfan's Roller, who is a fantastic value for money figure, unbelievable. So she skews more or less Legends size, though of course the scale of the line is probably going to be completely its own thing and kind of falls completely unrelated to any sort of New Age, Magic Square, Fans Toys, Takara scale. Pretty much its own thing. Here she is with a Bakugan. Just to say we did. And Legends Bumblebee. And let's do one more just to say we did. Lucky Cat, Daizujin. There we go. So that's a little overview of Toy Notch Taro Oink. Ran a little long at 25, 22 minutes, but this pretty much should tell you anything you want to know about it. The front of the box looks like this. She's packaged just like right there. You get some little Adventure Cloud art on the side and a little portrait, though that's, I assume, the brown color on the side in the art. And then, yeah, just the back of the box that you've been seeing this whole time. Quick flip through to the instructions. You get a set list, though it does mention those extra bore eyes that you don't get. And you get a little transformation walkthrough. It's not bad. It just is not quite illustrative of the full process in the way I would like. And you get a little tiny tutorial on how to attach accessories, though again, feels like it's overly simplified and doesn't really get all the information that you would want. But it does its job. It's overall a good figure. I do personally recommend it as far as weird little anime-esque transforming pigs go. I think she's probably the #1 in that category. And yeah, if you go in knowing what to expect, I don't think you can be disappointed. One other relevant comparison I just thought of. Here is Magic Square, the SD Chromia. And they're almost identical size due to her absolutely colossal noggin. And yeah, with that, I will get this wrapped up. Thank you for sticking with me if you decided to watch the whole thing. I'll work on getting the little sections added on YouTube so you can skip all my rambling and stuff. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.